So the SEMA Show. Uh, what can you say about SEMA? It's very large. I had a great time. It took me a while to find all the tool people. They're mostly in one spot. It was very nice seeing everybody. One observation was the cars here are so clean, they look fake. I don't know a better way to say that. I don't know if it's just because I've been conditioned by AI, but when you stand in front of a car and it is flawless, the paint, there's not a scratch, there's not a speck of anything on it. The glass is perfect. The interior, the grill, everything is just perfect. It makes it seem unreal to me. And that was a strange thing I wasn't expecting. I was kind of excited. I love cars. So I was thinking I was going to check out a bunch of cars, but uh, it was interesting. I apparently like cars with a little bit of dirt and scratch on them. Not too much, but there's like this perfect middle ground where a car is like clean, uh, but looks like a real car. And this is like the uncanny valley of like cars that are so modded and perfect that they look like toys. Anyway, that has nothing to do with tools. I made some notes, which I lost. One pleasant surprise was I met a company called Cardinal Tool, and they make what they call a speed vise, and been making it forever. It's a machinist vise. They make it in a number of different sizes. Um, what makes it a speed vise is that you can pick it up and pull it, and so you can adjust it really quickly. You don't have to sit there and spin the threads. And so if you're uh, if you're in some fabrication process where you're constantly having to adjust the vise back and forth, it's just a pain in the ass to sit there and spin it. And so, 100% American made. This was like a third, fourth generation family company. They were very nice. They also were releasing something new that was actually new at the SEMA show. I'll get back to that later. But they started making actual vices. And the vices, also 100% American made, also speed vices. So you have a regular vice that you can just pick up and move it back and forth, and it feels smooth. And so anyway, they're just trying them out. And so I made a good contact there, and I think we'll try to do something with them. They're not cheap, but it is an American made vice. Let's see. What else I got? Am I sitting on it? No. I saw the people at Koken. I'm continually impressed by Koken. They make sockets and ratchets, and they make them really well, and they're just solely focused on that. They had a cool little spark plug socket that didn't have any foam or padding or anything. It would just had a little, almost looked like a brass clip inside that held it, held the spark plug in there. That was neat. They had a couple other new things, but anyway, they're very very nice people. There was someone from Koken there. There was a lot of the Koken USA people. That's a very nice family business. It was nice to meet all of them and shake their hand and see them in person. And that's part of, I think, what was nice about being at the SEMA show. In terms of new stuff, if you're coming to the SEMA show looking for big reveals of new products, you will be disappointed. It really wasn't so much about that. Like, Nipix had punches and chisels. They're making German gold punches and chisels. Not the most exciting thing in the world. That was their new thing. Vim had all of their new USA tools that were all just rebadged tools from other US companies. They had the SK pair head ratchets that SK doesn't make. And they had the Vortex drill bits that Norseman's making. And then they had one other thing I can't remember. But it was just, it was that same kind of thing. I originally thought maybe we might get set up selling Vim stuff. It is mostly imported. They do some interesting stuff, but they're just too big. They're too big for us. I stopped by Fireball, and there could be some interesting stuff there. They make some cool squares, and I think their squares are interchangeable with our square blades. And so if we can work out a deal where we can just get the square bodies, and their blades are imported, but their bodies are US. So if I could get their bodies and use our US blades and put them in their bodies, then I think that would be pretty interesting, because they seem like an innovative company that's doing a lot of cool stuff. So that hopefully that will work out. So that's a plus for the SEMA Show. Where they have their new long pattern ratcheting wrenches. They have some like modular kits, so you can like mod and put a kit together in all these different ways, which to me seems, I don't know, interesting, but kind of a pain. I don't, they have those like kits that you can, it's like you got your sockets and bits and little drivers and everything. And those have been popular. They sell for like $100, and now they have one where you can just mod it and put things in all different places and make it longer or shorter. And I can see the utility of it, but it just also seems like a lot of parts to keep track of. You take something apart, and then you have to remember how it all goes back together and all the access. It just, I don't know. It seems like a lot for organization. I stopped by Lobster Tool. They're a new Japanese tool company that's introducing their stuff to the American market. They didn't bring out, they do a similar thing. What a lot of Japanese companies do is that they pick a small amount of items from their line, and they're like, this is what we're going to sell in the United States. And sometimes, it'd be nice to see everything. But they just chose this one specific line that they're introducing. I wasn't particularly impressed with it. Maybe it's because I've just seen so many Japanese tools now. But so probably not going to do anything with them. I stopped by KTC. They're KTC Nipros, and it was good meeting them. And we should probably do more with KTC. And we don't do anything right now. We just do the Nipros ratchets, but they make some weird stuff, hose clamp pliers and weird little picks and alignment tools and things like that I'd never seen before. And if they're cheap enough, then I think it'd be worth it. KTC is like the cheaper version of Nipros, but a lot of the Nipros innovations eventually go down into the KTC stuff. So when Nipros does something new with their ratchets, then eventually the KTC ratchets get that same technology. It's just there's not the level of finishing that goes into KTC that you get with Nipros. So if you don't care about the shininess and the whole aesthetic look of them, that that might be something. But then again, we carry so many ratchets now. I can't imagine adding another ratchet line. So yeah, would I go back? I'll probably go back, but not in a year. I'll probably give it some time. It was very nice seeing everybody, but and I did make some good contacts. There was I can't remember the name of the company, but there was a company that carried a lot of European tools. They sold Grip-On. Grip-On has some strange locking pliers I'd never seen before. That was particular to the automotive industry. Grip-On pliers, locking pliers are nice. They open the wrong way. And I don't know if they're worth it. Channel locks, locking pliers are all Grip-On now. I could get them from Channel Lock, but they have a very small selection. Grip-On makes a lot of locking pliers, and some of them are pretty unusual. They had like a 90-degree long nose locking plier that had a pretty strange mechanism on it that they had at the show. But they also carried like Thor, I think it was Thor hammers, a number of different strange European companies I'd never seen before. So that could be something good. Yeah, other than that, I'm excited to get back to Kansas City. Vegas is a nice place to visit for the weekend, but if you stay here too long, it starts to slowly get to you. I don't know if it's paying $10 for a cup of coffee every day, or just the endless slot machine sounds. But it'll be good to get back home. I'll be back at Epstein's on Thursday, and hopefully it hasn't burned down. And we'll see what new things have happened since I've left.